Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. As always, I'm getting ready to film my new makeup releases video, so I thought I'd sit down and give you guys a little life update. I also have a new palette to try out, so if that sounds interesting, let's get into it. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. My name is KARENHARRIS. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on YouTube. I do post quite often, so I highly recommend subscribing, turning on the bell so you're notified every time I post, and without further blabbering, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm super duper excited. I have the new Metamorph palette from Arttitude Cosmetics, and this one has been out for some time. I've just been all over the place when it comes to my schedule, so I do have close-ups and swatches of this palette. I'll also link it down below for you guys in case you're interested in picking it up. And yeah, let's go ahead and see those swatches. Everything swatched beautifully. I thought the shimmers were so opaque and creamy, which is my preferred formula when it comes to shimmers. So I'm super duper excited to put this palette on my eyes. I'm probably not going to talk too much about the makeup, and I do have some of my base makeup on already. I'll try and remember to link things down below, and I'll also let you know what else is on my face after I'm done with this look. But yeah, let's go ahead and create. Okay, so I thought I'd give you guys a little life update today because the last time I gave you guys an update, I think I was telling you that my in-laws were coming to visit, and we may have not talked about it ever since then, but it is now 5 weeks later. I can't believe it, and they're on their way home. I think they probably just got there, but my mother-in-law, Rel's mom, and stepdad were in town for 5 weeks, and it was wild. It was so wild. My parents usually come and stay with us too for long periods of time, but in case you didn't know, I guess, where do I start? In case you didn't know, I moved here when I was 18 to go to college, and I never left. And then I got married, and my husband is also from another country. So he's South African, I'm Sri Lankan, and we live here in North Dakota. And we have 2 kids now, so that's the backstory. Most of the grandparents lived out of the country, but my parents actually moved here last year. They got their green cards, and they live here now about like 4 minutes away from my house, so that's lovely. But before they got their own place, they lived with me and my husband and our 2 kids in our basement, and it was very chaotic, but that's something we're just used to with being a family that has, you know, very close relatives that are out of the country. When they come stay here, they usually like to stay at our house, because who can actually afford to have an Airbnb for 5 weeks in America in this economy, right? And so anyway, parents were here and we had so much fun. It was really chaotic. There was definitely a lot going on. One thing I will say from like a mom perspective is I feel like me and my husband, we've kind of just been like on our own, you know, because of how all our parents kind of like live out of the country. But it's so funny when your like parents and then like the grandparents come into the scene and they like start giving you all this like parenting advice. And you're like, but bro, I've been doing this now for like almost 3 years, and when was the last time you took care of a kid? Like, it's so easy for people to like give you, like, it's like a backseat driver, you know? It's like, okay, but I'm the one that's driving the car, so like, why are you trying to tell me how to drive? Like, if my driving is not satisfactory to you, you can drive yourself, like, you know? So it's just so funny, and I just wanted to share that because I love hearing from other parents and like hearing your guys's stories, and I just think it's so interesting that it seems like people just think you're like open for unsolicited advice at all times. So I try to kind of take the best advice from everyone, and if it's something that I think will help me, I will apply it. But I'm a big believer from learning from other people's mistakes. I mean, of course I'm going to learn from my mistakes too, but I think that I can see things that other people are doing and be like, that's just not for me, and that's okay. So I like to say that I learn from other people's mistakes as well. But yeah, it's just so wild when people that have just started to be around your kids try to give you like advice on how you should parent. And of course, like all these people think like their kid is the best kid and their kid never cried and their kid, you know, always listened to everything they said. And I'm like, you're delusional. Or I mean, maybe those kids are out there, but those are not my kids. My kids are definitely a lot more rambunctious, and that's okay. That's how I want to parent. I don't want my kids to be scared of me. I definitely feel like in the culture that I grew up in, it was a lot of like fear. Like, you know, it's like there's respect and then there's straight up like you're terrified. And I feel like I definitely was more scared than being respectful. I feel like now I have like more of a good relationship with my parents of like mutual understanding, but I'm also a lot older now, so I think it just depends. But that was like my one observation. I feel like one of my biggest observations from having my in-laws here was just like, oh yeah, my kids just always listen to me, and like we had step parents too, so that was interesting. The other thing we did do while Rel's mom was here was we did family photos, because the last time we were all in one place was our wedding, which was like 8 years ago. So we decided to do family photos, and I think I did a Chatty video about like doing family photos with our kids and how it was so wild and kind of a disaster. So we did family photos this time actually in our backyard, and I can put up a picture here just so you guys can see, but it turned out so cute. The only thing was, of course, apparently no two kids can be good at the same time. So our youngest was awesome and so cute, and she like smiled, and the older one just only wanted to be in with mom. So I don't even think she's in like half of the pictures, because if I wasn't in the picture, she wasn't in the picture. So I think we'll hit our sweet spot if we do backyard pictures, but just the four of us next time. So I don't know if we're gonna do pictures for like the fall, but it was fun to get like these big family photos, and we need to like update all our photos because we only have pictures of our first daughter. We just haven't gotten around to retaking pictures or like redoing the photos, so that's gonna be a project. And the other thing I need to do is just like, I just want to organize everything. I've been walking around keeping a list of all the projects we need to get done at home. So that's something we're doing, but it's been quite the experience having everyone here. And I think now it's just kind of like the cooling off period. So it's so nice to just be like in my house and in my space again. And I felt like I couldn't even really come downstairs too much because I didn't want to like disturb our guests. So I didn't do as much filming in the evening as I wanted to. So again, that's why I feel like so behind on everything. But I know that everything is temporary. So now we're done with that and we can focus on YouTube and family stuff, and the holidays are going to be here before I know it. So that's kind of my life update as far as that goes. As far as channel, I don't think I've got anything big to announce. Just so excited to keep playing with makeup and slowly inching towards 14K on YouTube. And yeah, just trying to be as consistent as I can with my content for you guys. So it's just been a fun summer. Oh, I know, I have a big announcement. I am gonna attempt to go to the Creator and Friends holiday party. So I did buy my ticket, the ticket for the event, not for the plane. But yeah, I think I'll be in Vegas and I'm so excited, unless like something major happens and for some reason I can't go, which I don't foresee happening. But I'm super duper excited. I was really nervous because I don't know really who's going. Like usually creators and friends, like when we went to New Orleans, like I knew like my best friends were going, but this time around I don't know for sure who's going. I know some people for sure are going, but some of the creators are going with like their husbands, and mine is staying here to watch the kids. So I'm like, okay, hopefully I don't end up in Vegas by myself. I don't think I will. I'm sure somebody else I know will end up, you know, letting me know that they're going so I can like room with somebody and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not opposed to solo travel, but I think it's like so much more fun when you're going to something like this to go with a friend or something. So I'm excited about that. I did it for myself. I was like, you know, it's okay. Like my kids are getting a little older and I shouldn't feel guilty about wanting to do one or two things for myself. Like I'm not able to do everything I want to do, obviously, because, you know, family obligations, but a couple of things, 2 trips a year, I think I can swing, and so I'm so excited. And I did end up getting a last minute invite to Palm Springs because that's the next creator and friends trip. And I wanted to go so bad, but it was such a short window of time where I would have to get organized and I just couldn't swing it financially or like having somebody watch the kids. So I had to pass on it, which I'm a little bit bummed about, but it's not the end of the world. So I missed out on Palm Springs, which honestly, I want to go to Palm Springs so bad. It's always so hard to talk while you're putting lipstick on, but I do really like the shade. It's Body Heat from NARS. I just posted a reel about it. It's a really pretty nude shade. And I'm just gonna throw on a little bit of this Milk Makeup Day Trip gloss. This is so pretty. It's a new shade. Oh my gosh, the other day I was like getting ready and my kids were so quiet. And I was like, why are they so quiet? And I find the 2-year-old with this. I might just throw up a clip because it was so funny. She had lip gloss like all over her face, like total mom life moment. But anyways, this is looking really cute. Okay, I said I wasn't going to make this about the makeup, but I do have my new Singe blushes, and these are so pretty. I think we're going to do a Risky Raisin with this look. I think it'll look so good. I use my Singe brush, and this thing applies Angie's blushes to perfection. And this color is so pretty, and they're so like buildable, so you can really just go in with a light hand and then slowly build them up. Oh my gosh, I also really wanted to tell you guys that I went to a movie with my mom. We went and saw It Ends With Us. I started reading the book and I couldn't get into it, and so I never finished it, and I didn't really know the story, but I am, should I say I was a Blake Lively fan, and then all this stuff kept coming out about her and the director slash her co-star of the movie not getting along. It made him like seem like the villain, but now all this stuff is coming out about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and I was definitely wondering like what people thought of the movie, because I definitely got the vibe that it was rom-com. I knew that it wasn't because I knew there was something going on with the main characters, but I didn't know the whole story because I never finished the book. But it was definitely a movie that made you think, but it didn't like totally devastate you, which I feel like it is kind of a good way to get more people to maybe even just like talk about difficult subjects like DV. But after like watching some of the commentary on how she kind of did the press for the movie and things like that, I'm like, ooh, yeah, maybe just a little bit cringe. So yeah, I think there was a lot of like stuff that she took a lot of missteps on. Like I heard there was a lot of times where she was like, grab your friends and grab your florals, and it was all tied back to like Lily Bloom being a florist, but how it might have just been a little bit too inappropriate for a DV movie. So I thought it was interesting, and of course I'm not a commentary creator, but I do love chatting to you guys about this stuff because I don't really think anyone else in my life cares. And also I am a Blake Lively fan and I am a Ryan Reynolds fan, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of wild. Like, it seems like she kind of took over everything, and I don't think there's anything wrong with strong women. And I feel like the director of the movie was so good at letting women take the lead. I'm not the most important voice in the room. It's the women in the room that need to take the lead in this situation. I thought that was really lovely, and I think he did a good job of highlighting that, because at the end of the day, you're marketing your movie, right? So maybe you sound like an asshole because you're saying the same things over and over again, but I still feel like that's important because that's the way it should be handled. And I just feel like he spoke so eloquently about the movie and the inspiration and how much he tried to learn and listen. And I think even on the press tour, he did a lot of really good education, just like telling people, like, it's not about why women stay, it's about why men hurt or harm. I think he used one of those words. And I thought that was a really interesting message, because I feel like so much of the time we victim blame and put so much pressure on women, but who's putting pressure on men to think like, why am I like this? Like, I feel like if people ask such a simple question, it would really change a lot of people's situations, a lot of difficult situations. So I thought, even though the movie was very like airy fairy, and it's also the whole thing, see, this is why I need friends to talk to this stuff about, the whole thing about how she's supposed to be like a 23-year-old florist, and she's wearing all these clothes and like Louboutins and stuff like that. And it was so funny because Blake Lively was so like gung-ho and like was like, oh yeah, those are my clothes, some of them were my husband's clothes. And it's like, babe, you're so out of touch with reality. Like, no regular schmegular florist is wearing like decked out clothes, which Lily Bloom did seem like she was more like upper middle class, like definitely had some money. But yeah, the whole thing was like very much a movie. It was definitely more movie than real life, like close to real life. But overall, I think it had a decent message. It's a more easy to kind of process way to talk about DV, which I'm not saying that's the only way. I just feel like it's a good like jumping off point if you're somebody that's like so immune to it. But yeah, that whole like press thing has been such a mess, and it's got me questioning. I feel like her getting canceled is a little bit valid, even though that's not what the movie's about. It's about empowering women. I feel like she kind of bought it on herself. Don't come for me. We can have respectful conversations about this in the comments. No big deal. This is a safe space. Okay, so I really need to put on mascara. As you can tell, this update video turned into Karen really wants to talk about movies, but I'm gonna go put on some mascara, finish up this look, and I'll be right back to show you guys the final product. Okay, friends, so here is the finished look. What do we think? Let me know down in the comments. Now, let me tell you really quick what else is on my face today in case you're curious. So I have on the Tear foundation. I haven't used this in a few weeks, so I thought I would. I wear the shade 33C Hazelnut in case we are foundation twins. I'm wearing the Natasha Denona concealer. For bronzer today, I have on two. I'm wearing the Juvia's Place bronzer on top, and I tried this Ilia bronzer again. I'm not really sure if I like this. I feel like I don't know, it almost looks gray on me when I put it on, and it is very lightly pigmented, so I don't know if I'm gonna hold on to this because it was quite pricey, and I think I like the idea of this more than I like how it looks on my skin, and especially with my skin tone, I don't know that I necessarily need this one. For blush, of course, I'm wearing Risky Raisin by my friend Angie's brand Singe Beauty. These just launched. And then for highlighter, I'm wearing the Fenty Beauty highlighter in the shade Yum Rum. This is such a beautiful highlighter, one of my favorites of the year so far. And I'm wearing my Blend Bunny mascara because I haven't used this in a hot second. So that is everything that's on my face today. Now let's go ahead and talk about this palette really quick. Now the collection does come with like brushes. I think there's highlighters, maybe some pigments. I received the palette in PR, so I'm excited about that because, of course, eyeshadow palettes are my favorite. I also want to let you guys know that there was some kind of issue with the manufacturing. So this hybrid shade was actually replaced with a single shadow. They are not magnetized in this pan, so you can try and remove it, but I didn't want to like mess up my palette, so I just have the shade with me. But that is the shade I used when I was deepening up the outer corner, not this shade, because the owner of Arttitude did say that this was just not the quality that she wanted. So just keep that in mind in case you are planning to pick this palette up. I definitely feel like the shimmers in this palette are the star of the show. We do have some multi-chromes as well as duochromes, and then some beautiful shimmer shades as well as this beautiful iridescent shade. So I did play with quite a few colors in this palette, and I think it's a really nice palette. The mattes are a little bit lighter when it comes to pigmentation, so you do have to build them up quite a bit. And so that's just something to keep in mind if you are planning on picking this palette up. Those are kind of my first impression thoughts on the Metamorph palette from Arttitude. I really like their palette, so I wanted to make a video with it. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late because this palette's been out for quite some time now, but I did the best I could, and I really like this color story. So that is it as far as my thoughts on this palette. Like I said, I will link it down below, as well as my discount code with Arttitude. It's just KHMAKEUP if you wanted to use it and save some money on your purchase. That's everything. Just a little life update, a little chit chat about random things that have been on my mind lately. I definitely will be posting more videos this week. I have the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm palette headed my way, and I need to know if I actually need a warm palette or if it's kind of a joke at this point, and lots of other things in store. So make sure you subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye, friends!